Hello everyone and welcome to task 9 of our SQL injection video series. In today's task we're going to talk about out-of-band SQL injection. Out-of-band SQL injection isn't as common as it either depends on specific features being enabled on the database server or web applications business logic, which makes some kind of external network call based on the results from an SQL query. So this is not a common vulnerability that you're going to find in web application. And then an out-of-band attack is classified by having two different communication channels, one to launch the attack and the other to gather the results. So for instance, the attack channel could be a web request and the data gathering channel could be monitoring HTTP or DNS requests made to a service the attacker controls. So we have three stages, and then we also have an illustration down below. So stage 1, an attacker makes a request to a website vulnerable to SQL injection with an injection payload. So the attacker here, he will craft a payload and then try to fire the payload on the website. So the second stage, the website makes an SQL query to the database, which also passes the hacker's payload. So the website, that is the vulnerable website or web application, will make an SQL query to a backend database sitting somewhere that contains the attacker's payload. And now the third stage, the payload contains a request which forces an HTTP request back to the hacker's machine containing data from the database. So whatever payload that gets triggered, it makes a request to a server that is controlled by an attacker, and then it leaks information to the attacker's control server. So basically that is how this out-of-band SQL injection works. So now that we have this information, let's try to see. Actually this one doesn't have a lab, unfortunately, but we can go out there and I'm sure we should find some labs on the internet to get a proper practical feel of how this vulnerability can be exploited. And now it's time to answer the question. Name a protocol beginning with a D that can be used to exfiltrate data from a database. So a protocol that can be used to exfiltrate. So let's say DNS. So DNS, we talked about HTTP and DNS, but DNS starts with D. So let's see if this is right. Okay, so that's correct, and this should mark the end of a video for task 9. So I'll see you in task 10. Thank you.